के हवाले से पहली इंटरनेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस जारी है, बराह रास्त लिए चलेंगे।
The opposite. So, whereas the secular group of physicians say, we don't want to have anything to do with religion, the Islamic bioethics followers say, contemporary bioethics वो तो अमेरिका से आई है, वो तो West की है, we have nothing to do with it. So in the Islamic approach, therefore, what people do essentially is that they try and go back to rulings that they find on different areas from our philosophers and physicians from the 9th, 10th century. Now, they were brilliant philosophers, or a lot of them were philosophers and physicians, but they were dealing with medicine that was very different. Now, what has to be understood is both these approaches have a lot of strengths in them. So, the contemporary approach teaches you to be analytic, to learn to analyze things. Whereas the more our religious view, it to me is important because it talks about your values as Muslims. One of the problems that I have with the Islamic bioethics is that you now have dial a fatwa, you know that, you have a problem, you can just Google it and get a fatwa about it. But in this, we forget also that Pakistan does not just have Muslims. Pakistan, doctors, publics, as well as the general people, they're not all Muslims. So we have Hindus, we have Christians, we have a few Parsis. So these two streams have to come together somehow, and this is what indigenizing would eventually mean. So currently, do you see what I'm looking at here? Now there are different ways to interpret this. Here is how I would interpret it. These are two rickshaws, right? And you can see what is happening here. You see this foot here, right? So this foot, this rickshaw obviously has no motor, no engine. This one does. So you can say it's helping it, but the bottom line is that this I see really as the secular group or the religious group. And what they're doing is...
Janazin University of Health